Greetings, radiant viewers, and welcome to Animal World, our co-inhabitants. Today's show features amazing stories about intelligent animal companions from around the world that have saved and protected humans unconditionally. When we talk about animal companions, snakes probably don't immediately come to mind. But in Mr. Wong's household in China, it's a different story. It all began in the summer of 1996, when the gentle Mr. Wong, who has loved animals since childhood, found a small wounded python lying motionless on a large rock. He carefully picked up the snake, took him home, and with the guidance of a wise old Chinese doctor, was able to treat the animal's wound with a special herb that stops bleeding and helps regenerate skin. Through Mr. Wong's loving care, not only did the elegant python recover from his wound in a mere 3 months, he actually put on several kilograms of weight. Seeing the now healthy snake, Mr. Wong was tempted to release him back into the wild, but was worried that he might get hurt again. In the end, Mr. Wong decided to continue looking after the snake in his home. 2 years later, Mr. Wong got married and became the father of a beautiful baby boy. And the snake immediately became the newborn's special friend, playing with him affectionately. Whenever Mr. Wong and his wife went out, the snake was the responsible babysitter, letting the son ride him like a horse or put his little face on his cool skin. One summer night in 2001, Mrs. Wong was awakened by a noise and woke up her husband. Mr. Wong then got up to find a stranger lying on the floor with the faithful python wrapped tightly around his legs. The heroic snake had caught the would-be burglar and protected his loving young family. Upon hearing the heroic story of Mr. Wong's snake friend, people came and wanted to buy the snake from Mr. Wong. But he refused all their offers and said that he would never sell the snake, just as he would never sell any of his family members. Animals will do anything without hesitation to protect their loving human friends. In April 2010, Macao the cat did something out of the ordinary to awaken his caregivers. Kate Cotonyi and Bevan Garland of Central Otago, New Zealand at 3 a.m. in the morning. Kate and Bevan said the cat dipped his paws in the toilet bowl and walked over their faces 3 times, finally awakening them to a raging fire 3 meters from their bedroom window. The fire had begun in their neighbor's shed and the flames were spreading to their garage and propane gas bottles, but luckily the fire was put out in time by the neighbor. Miss Cotonyi praised Macao for alerting them, saying, "He's a hero in my world. I think he was fantastic. He is going to get a lot of biscuits." In Montana, USA, a 3-year-old cat named Schnauzy also alerted her human friends just in the nick of time. On a cold winter evening in 2007, Schnauzy could literally smell danger in the air. A gas pipe had burst outside her house and highly flammable gas was rapidly entering the home. Thinking quickly, she jumped on her sleeping caregiver Trudy Gay's chest and sniffed at the air like a dog, something she had never done before. This tipped Miss Gay that something was amiss, and she quickly discovered the leak. Miss Gay says the house furnace or hot water heater could have ignited the whole gas-filled residence at any moment, and luckily everyone evacuated safely. For her bravery, Schnauze received the Purple Paw Award from the Great Falls Animal Foundation in April 2010. From time immemorial, dogs have been known as humans' best friends, and they are also their guardians. Their warmth and friendship shield people from loneliness, and their loyalty and intelligence protect families from harm. In the United States, a bright dog named Gus saved his caregiver's family, including a canine companion, from a roaring house fire in Bellevue, Idaho, USA. On Saturday, March the 6th, 2010, while Steve and Jody Mills were sleeping on the second floor of their home, a fire started downstairs. The house was a renovated barn without smoke detectors. After sensing the blaze, Gus began scratching and crying loudly in an effort to awaken the couple. The Mills woke up to Gus's unusual behavior, saw that one of their bedroom walls was on fire, quickly exited the house and called the local fire department. Thus, thanks to Gus's timely barking, the Mills family was saved, and the firefighters who arrived on the scene were able to extinguish the blaze within 6 minutes. The Mills said, "Gus has always been our hero." When we return, we'll meet more fascinating animal heroes who have saved and protected human beings. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to today's Animal World, our co-inhabitants, featuring amazing stories of altruistic animals that have safeguarded humans unconditionally. Dogs play an irreplaceable role in our society. They bring immense benefits to those around them and selflessly perform many services for humans. In addition to their absolute love and loyalty, they also provide health benefits to their caregivers. Studies show that people who care for canines usually experience longer, happier lives. Stories of how these blessed animal friends have saved the lives of their human companions are countless. Here's another example from Texas, USA. In June 2010, canine caregiver Trixie Wilson was sleeping in her bedroom when a fire began one evening in her Midland, Texas home. It started when a wall socket in the living room short-circuited and caused a spark that spread to a unit that shines a light in her window that was plugged into the wall. The fire spread to the surrounding carpet and furniture, creating noxious smoke that soon filled the home. Seeing the danger, Trixie's canine friend Gretchen began barking immediately and awakened Trixie. Thus both were able to get out of the house safely. Thanks to Gretchen's timely warning, Trixie sustained no injuries. Of Gretchen, Trixie has said, "That's my baby." Our next story today involves an attentive Chihuahua named Chi-Chi, who saved the lives of 2 elderly women. In October 2008, Rick and Mary Lane took 6-kilogram Chi-Chi with them to Indian Beach on North Carolina, USA's Outer Banks for a day out. All 3 were resting in their beach chairs when Chi-Chi, who was secured with a leash to ensure his safety, suddenly leapt out of his chair and started screaming and crying while dragging the chair, which was still attached to him. According to Mary, Chi-Chi was making a sound that neither she nor her husband had ever heard before. Startled, the Lanes looked up and found that Chi-Chi had spotted an emergency about 90 meters down the beach. 2 elderly ladies were on the brink of being drowned by a storm surge. One had fallen on her back, headfirst into the rushing surf, and the other was frantically trying to keep her friend's head up above the water while she herself was at great risk of being swept away at any second by the powerful tide. Rick and Mary immediately ran down the beach and helped the women, both of whom were in their 90s, out of the water. The ladies explained that they had fallen into the water accidentally. Thanks to Chi-Chi's warning, the women were rescued, and in the meantime, the intuitive little canine had already jumped back into his little beach chair and fallen asleep. For his heroism, Chi-Chi was voted by readers of Reader's Digest magazine as Hero Pet of the Year. In all the pet stories I've ever read, the animals were always saving someone they knew, like their family member or friend. Chi-Chi wasn't. He was saving strangers. I didn't know I had a dog who could do such a thing, said Mary. Finally, we moved to the jungles, home to our affectionate friends, the monkeys. Monkeys are very bright beings and quite inventive. For example, the white-faced capuchins, which are found in Central America, know how to protect themselves from insect bites. They take leaves of the piper plant and rub them on each other because it acts as an insect repellent and because the plant also has antifungal properties. A touching event that occurred in China clearly demonstrates the nobility of these loving, furry beings. In the summer of 1998, when Mr. Wang Chen-wu, a forest ranger living in the Taxia River Nature Reserve in Guizhou, China, was patrolling a mountainous area, he found a trapped and injured Francois Lungor, a monkey that inhabits northeast Olac or Vietnam and southern China. Without hesitation, Mr. Wang freed the little animal and took him home to tend to his wounds. The monkey's lovely, soulful character inspired Mr. Wang to give him the name Lin Lin, meaning spirits in Chinese. 3 months later, Lin Lin had been nursed back to health, so Mr. Wang returned him to the mountains. Then around 2 a.m. one morning, in June 2000, Mr. Wang was awakened by a series of hasty knocks and found that Lin Lin was at the door. Upon seeing Mr. Wang, Lin Lin started tugging on his pants and pulling him out of the door with all his might while crying loudly toward the mountain behind Mr. Wang's home. It was then that Mr. Wang saw the mountain was collapsing. Huge rocks were rolling downhill and soil was spilling down with a thunderous noise. In shock, Mr. Wang started shouting and running around to notify his fellow villagers, all of whom were able to escape right before the falling mountain buried the village. Lin Lin's story has touched and inspired countless people in the area, such as teachers and students, to start animal protection groups. Many believe that it is the friendship between humans and animals that create the area's harmonious atmosphere, and that this loving energy helps the people and animals thrive. To close, the stories we have recounted today of animal heroism show that all beings, no matter their species, are capable of acts of true altruism. This is yet further evidence of how all life on our planet has heaven within. Beautiful viewers, thank you for joining us on today's Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants. Coming up next is enlightening entertainment after noteworthy news. May animals and humans live forever in peace on this wondrous shared planet.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/AW.